last month the figures were, I think, typical of how the market has been going, with strong points in the 450 to 550 again, the number of sales, and they were about 20% of the market, 19% of the market. And again, another strong showing in the 250 to 350 part of the market, and that was 43% of the number of sales in the market. So again, a typical market graph there. And the good sign was that there were still some sales in the 1.5 million, 1.1 million, around that area. So up around the 800s and above, there were still some sales.
So do you think the effects of the LVR rules have worn off?
It's interesting looking at the LVR rules, because that is still in place. Yes, I would say that there seems to be a loosening in that area, and the numbers of sales down that bottom end of the area, bottom end of the market, are still are happening again now, which certainly weren't there when the first LVR came out first time. Also interesting to see that the Reserve Bank limit of 10%, that's the banks are well under that, so they're tending to have some leniency with the clients that they're choosing.
So what was the total sales figure?
So the total sales figure for the latest stats is 121. Which, interestingly enough, is pretty well the average what has been over the last 2 years. So we've had very consistent amount of sales each month over the last, probably even longer than 2 years now.
What do you expect from spring?
Spring is traditionally, has always been talked about, a big listing time where people come in because more houses sell in spring, so then you better hurry up and list in spring because the garden's looking nice and things. I've got to say is that now is a good time to be listing. The market is solid now and there's purchases there. If you look at the sales stats for spring and winter, they have been very similar over the last 2 years of sales. That virtually they've been the same. So this myth of selling in spring is better than selling in winter, I think, is a myth, and it's very much now is a good time to sell, and it's coincidental it happens to be spring.
Do you see the election having any impact on the real estate market?
Elections are always a curveball, and I would say yes, they do. And the only thing that they do have is just from a mental stand back point of view. I can't see anything there that is going to affect the market terribly. Over the years, the many years that I've been selling, is that the elections haven't really impacted on the sales. So I think, again, coming back down to that, is coincidental that there's the elections here. If you're thinking of selling, get your house and sell your house now, because there's still people around buying. Yeah.
So what are you expecting to see going into summer and Christmas?
I think that if you look at the sales stats and the number of sales over the last 2.5 years, they've been very consistent. So my pick is that there doesn't appear to be anything on the horizon that's going to change that. So therefore, I would be thinking that it's going to be consistent, that the number of sales is going to stay plus or minus that 120 mark, and there's the people out there that are still buying and still wanting to move to Tauranga. And it's just a matter of the houses, getting the houses and the stock on the market to sell them. So it's steady as she goes, really.